apologies from, I think we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we're all here. Our apologies. There's an apology from the General Manager who is on annual leave. Any declaration of peculiar interest within the agenda for this afternoon? Okay. So as determined by the Spring Bay Council in April 2017, all ordinary and special meetings contained. The Council will be audio, visual, recorded and streamed live. A link is available on the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council website to the YouTube platform where the public can view the meeting and watch the proceedings. In accordance with the Local Government Act 93 and Regulations 33, these video audio files will be retained by Council for at least 6 months and made available viewing live, as well as online within 5 days of the scheduled meeting. The written minutes of the meeting, once confirmed, prevail over video audio recording of the meeting. So the agenda item this evening is on voluntary amalgamations, agenda item. So we have in front of us, councillors, the finding of the results from within the municipality. We've had some recommendations there, so I'll put it to you and it's open for discussion, councillors.
I'll move the motion, Mr Mayor, for discussion purposes.
Thank you.
I'll second that, Mayor Kent.
Thank you. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. It is open for discussion, councillors.
Mayor Kent, if I can start.
Yes, sir.
So we've just had a workshop where we met with the Director of Local Government and the Chair of the Board. My concern is the time that, like, we've received new information today or clarified different things. It was a good opportunity to discuss concerns, but it's a really important decision, and my concern is that we actually need some time to consider the information we've received today and to further discuss that information. My concern also is Section 214 of the Act. If we proceed with the recommendation as recommended in this agenda, that by law, Council, we don't actually get the final say here. We don't get the information that we require and to make that informed decision today. So if we agreed with the recommendations as suggested, that decision ultimately then goes to the Minister. And I have many questions to ask, and I'd like to know about the impacts of, you know, they go away, they do their review, you know, they produce their report. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to look at the things that are important to us or our communities. They might just more so look at financials, and financials aren't the be-all and end-all of what happens in a municipality. They're very important, but also there's many other things that are important to our communities. So, yeah, I'd basically like to see further information so we can make an informed decision, particularly on impacts on employment, on rates that would be charged going forward, not just in an interim period, on representation. There's probably many other things, but as I said, we've just had a workshop and, you know, it's just not sufficient time for us to actually consider the ramifications and negative or positive on our municipality. I can't think of a bigger decision that we can be making than this one. And when residents and ratepayers contact me and I can't answer what your rates are going to be or am I going to have a job going forward, if I can't answer that, how can I make this decision to pass it to the Minister under Section 214? Mayor Kent, I'd like to move a motion, but I'd actually like to hear, or as we're discussing, we've moved to discuss, can I put a motion after somebody else has spoken? That's still okay?
Let's open for discussion.
Yes?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd just like to hear other people's views because, yeah, I just feel that I can't make a decision
Right.
at
Thank you.
this point.
Thank you.
I
Councillor
just-
Farmer?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I do agree with what Councillor Wisby is saying here today. And I'd also like to say that the actual survey that was done, as we know, Currents withdrew from the survey process halfway through the time period, which basically makes the survey irrelevant, even though there is some importance to the survey in regards to the people's choice. But I can't see we can take that into consideration today because of the current situation that they pulled out. So the survey, the way it was put together, I disagree with it. The way it was worded, especially under question 4, the way it was worded, it should have just been yes or no, and that was the end of it. And then we should have moved on to the next process, which Councillor Wisby has actually basically outlined here today. So I just want to make mention of that. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
And obviously you weren't part of the team earlier. This was all done prior to your coming
Yes.
back on
I
council.
wasn't on council at the time, Mr Mayor. No.
Thank you. Any other comment from any other councillor at this stage before Councillor Wisby puts a motion? Councillor
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to concur with what Councillor Wisby has said, and I would also like to congratulate this council today for the decisions, or not decisions, sorry, that was the wrong word, but the actual positive and constructive discussions that we've actually had today on an important matter. And we have, as a collective group, almost I would have to say finally agreed on something. Whether that good, bad or yeah, almost, Mr Mayor. But that being said, you know, we have to make a decision in council, and we've already deferred this once, but we still need to understand the ramifications of what a voluntary amalgamation, how it will look for the ratepayers and the residents of our municipality. So on that basis, I wouldn't even consider any of the recommendations that we've been given, and I'm interested to hear a motion. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Any other comments? Councillor, Deputy Mayor.
Mr Mayor, as council is aware, my major concern is, as Councillor Farmer has said, the majority result of the survey was premised around the fact that of the amalgamation of 4 councils. With Clarence City Council withdrawing from the process, that option is now off the table. So would those people that voted for or responded in the survey for a 4 council amalgamation still favour amalgamation of 3 councils? And that's a question that we don't know the answer to. We have the opportunity to further analyse the survey results, I believe. So I think for my initial thoughts in this whole process was that there was nothing to be lost in going into having a whole amalgamation process reviewed under a local government board. But Councillor Crawford very rightly raised the fact that the decision would be made by the Minister. I know the Minister has given us assurances that it is still a voluntary process, but the reality is it is governed by the Local Government Act, and as Councillor Wisby said, Section 214. somewhere in this process there is also a state election coming up. What happens if we have a change of government? Where does that leave this council in terms of it being a voluntary process? Because a change of government, a new government is going to have to abide by the rules under Section 214. So I have grave concerns about the whole process now, and particularly in relation to the majority result. So I would like to see us defer the decision tonight on the basis that we will, we have to make the decision, I believe, to meet some timeframes requested by the Minister by the end of the month. But this should then give us the opportunity to further analyse the results to ensure that Council has a really clear indication of the wishes of the community in relation to amalgamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Steiner.
Mr Mayor, I'd just like to add and perhaps carry on from where Councillor or Deputy Mayor Arnold left off, and that is to say that not only a clear indication from the survey as to what people in the community are feeling about amalgamation or any of the four options, but also to get a deeper understanding of that. And my reservation about voting tonight is really based around the fact that there isn't enough information. People ask me what happens if, when we amalgamate. I can't answer that. Now, how can I make a decision on something that I have no answer to? So it really is about a lack of information at this point in time I think, for myself as councillor, to actually make a decision on this amalgamation process.
Yep. Any further comment, councillors? Councillor Wisby, do you want to put your motion forward?
Thanks, Mayor Kent. So the motion is that Council defer the decision of voluntary council amalgamations to the next ordinary meeting of council to allow time to further analyse survey results and consider impacts on the municipal area.
We have a seconder for that motion. Councillor Woods. Okay, put the motion.
You need to allow discussion on it.
All those in favour? Councillor Woods, Councillor Steiner, Councillor Crawford, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Parker, Councillor Wisby, Councillor Farmer. Those against? Councillor Kent. The motion is passed. Thank you. Any further questions this evening? Any other issues before we wind up? Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for the community for coming along and for the councillors. And it is deferred until the 23rd of January, 24th of January. Thank you.
Next January meeting is the 30th, isn't it?